Welcome to JECK Radar. Today, we're dissecting a diplomatic earthquake shaking the very foundations of Middle East peace efforts. The focus, a bold move by France to recognize Palestine as a state, met with swift and mocking disdain from U.S. President Donald Trump. This isn't just a war of words, it's a major geopolitical shift that has left Israel outraged and, critically, coincided with the U.S. pulling its negotiating teams from Gaza ceasefire talks. The situation is volatile and the path to peace more uncertain than ever. Let's break down this dramatic international showdown. The catalyst for this diplomatic firestorm came from Paris. In a truly bold and defiant move, French President Emmanuel Macron announced France's decision to formally recognize Palestine as a state. This step, particularly from a G7 nation and a permanent member of the UN Security Council, represents a significant geopolitical shift, directly challenging years of mounting pressure from Israel and, implicitly, from the United States, which has long resisted such unilateral recognition. Macron's move signals a growing European frustration with the diplomatic stalemate and the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. However, the reaction from across the Atlantic was swift and characteristically blunt. U.S. President Donald Trump publicly mocked President Macron's stance with a sharp jab, proclaiming, "What he says doesn't matter." This dismissive taunt underscores the deep ideological divide between the current U.S. administration and many European allies regarding the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Unsurprisingly, Israel has expressed outrage over France's announcement, viewing it as a reward for terror and a hindrance to future negotiations. The timing of these diplomatic fireworks couldn't be more critical. In a parallel, equally concerning development, the United States has pulled its negotiating teams from Gaza ceasefire talks. These crucial discussions, often led by U.S. envoys, aim to broker a truce between Israel and Hamas and secure the release of remaining hostages. The U.S. has cited Hamas's alleged lack of good faith as the reason for its withdrawal, casting fresh and profound doubt on any potential ceasefire agreement. This move by the U.S. not only adds fuel to an already volatile situation on the ground but also represents a significant shift in its long-standing role as the primary mediator in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. By stepping away from the negotiating table, Washington signals a potential hardening of its approach, or perhaps a recognition that its current strategy is yielding no results. The synergy of France's recognition and the U.S. withdrawal creates a complex new dynamic where traditional diplomatic avenues appear to be fracturing, leaving a vacuum that others may attempt to fill. France's bold decision and Trump's direct response have far-reaching geopolitical implications. Does France's move, potentially followed by other European nations, begin to isolate the U.S. and Israel on the international stage regarding the two-state solution? We've already seen countries like Ireland, Spain, and Norway recognize Palestine recently. France's action, from a more significant global player, could indeed create a domino effect, encouraging more nations to follow suit and further shift the diplomatic landscape. Conversely, the U.S. withdrawal from talks, coupled with its condemnation of France's decision, deepens the rift within Western alliances on this critical issue. It suggests an increasingly fractured international approach to resolving the Middle East conflict. This could embolden other regional and global powers to step into the diplomatic void, or it could simply lead to more entrenchment and a prolonged, even more desperate conflict without a clear path to resolution. The diplomatic arena is as heated as the conflict itself. With France charting a bold new course and the U.S. stepping back from negotiations, the Middle East peace process faces unprecedented challenges. The stakes are incredibly high, not just for Israelis and Palestinians, but for global stability. What are your thoughts on France's decision and President Trump's reaction?